Gary!
Seinfuck.
3 hours?
Yeah, well, here's the thing with roasts. What they don't tell you, like all the good Comedy Central roasts, they did like tape for 3 hours, but then they cut it down
They
to
cut
like
it down to
an hour.
like an hour, yeah.
So like you only got the best. So the problem is you're watching people like Randy Moss, who was struggling to talk through CTE, try to deliver roast jokes, and you're like, what is happening? One thing I did want to point out is I've been like seeing a lot of commentary channels, which they're going like, comedy's back. Because like in this row,
It's not how that works.
yeah, they're like PC culture is done. They've lost. They booed Kim Kardashian. Comedy has never been brighter.
Just what I needed to win the culture war. Sydney Sweeney's tits and Tom Brady saying the N-word.
You're right.
Yeah.
Take that, libtards.
Thank God Tony Hinchcliffe is now in the mainstream. You're like,
That's not
kill Tony, more like win Emmys.
Oh,
Oh, God. Any more glazing you'd like to get out of the way here? Are you going to spin on it?
I just wanted to say it was pretty bad. Like for the most part, it was like a pretty shitty roast. And the thing is millennials, older millennials in particular, kind of caught it hook, line, and sinker. And they're like, we can't say the R word. You're like, you're like, they're calling it the R word. Like I saw in Arizona when I went down to visit, I saw like a license plate that said like Big R. That was like the thing, the Big R.
R. That is unfortunate.
You know that's like a dad and his son drives like hard R. Like that's his license.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the spread the word to end the word campaign.
Spread the word to end word.
Yeah, end the word. It's not a very fortunately titled campaign, but
really
they wanted to spread the word to end the word.
That would be an incredible like troll thing. It's like, yeah, spread the word, end the word.
Didn't work out. If you want to get high schoolers to say anything more, you will tell them not to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we did go to a high school where I said during a lecture that my parents voted for Obama, and one guy like shoved me up against a wall after class. It was
that little cock, that cock dude. Harper, why did you shove him against the wall?
He sold out my country. He's a sissy liberal. He had soft hands. I wanted to see if he would try to come take my gun with his soft hands.
I think we're gonna be like he had soft lips,
his soft velvety hands, wearing knee socks and gamer girl cat ears.
Sissy liberal. Put those soft hands on my body.
In fairness, at that time, you had John McCain, and he was sort of like the last good Republican. So, like, you did, and he was
good Republican. That's a John Grisham novel.
Yeah, that's like a movie. That's like a mini series that David E. Kelley will adapt from a John Grisham novel, and it's going to star like Jeff Daniels.
A lot of people out here do not like John McCain, and they do not think he's a war hero. They actually think that he's a traitor.
There is like, you know, the weird conspiracy people who are just like, he was never a POW. It was all a stunt to launch his political career, and it was just like, my God.
That's a while, because the one I usually hear is that he sold his comrades out, that he was a POW, but he folded.
But then he like narked on everybody. Yeah.
I would love the idea. It's like he was like, when I get back, because he gets captured, and he's like, when I get back, I'm going to become a politician. And then that's when he was like, he just kept denying, like, when they were like, we'll trade you now, like, you're good to go. And he's like, I got to stay a little longer. I'm good. He's just like it's like Al Capone in prison, where it's like Al Capone's like in a nice, like 5-star hotel, but he's just like in a prison cell.
Yeah, he's mostly stayed so he wasn't assassinated by other gang members.
Yeah, well, like whereas like for John McCain, he's just staying, being like, man, I'm going to be president one day. Didn't happen, but he thought so in that time.
And you know what John McCain had in common with Al Capone?
What?
Syphilis.
Oh.
Did John McCain have syphilis?
He had some sort of brain-eating bacteria.
There was, that's another on the conspiracy theories, but let's not go there.
I think it was a tumor, a huge tumor the size of a softball.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was just like, this is obviously not actually cancer. This is, again, another, heartfelt ploy. It's actually,
This is another
Syphilis.
sissy liberal prank trying to get us to distract us from the truth.
Why would you vote for a president that doesn't have syphilis? Like, come on.
I want my president to have at least 2 STDs. That's true.
Yeah.
I want my president to fuck.
I want Bill Clinton back.
I want Billy C back in office.
He played the saxophone, and he probably had more than 0 STDs. Best president of my lifetime.
His dick most certainly dripped like a faucet.
Yeah.
Oh,
definitely.
Great guy.
Blowing on the sax, and he's blowing out backs.
I hear he's a pedophile.
I love that, like, the almost like a transatlantic casualness you put in that. It's like, I hear he's a pedophile.
Have you heard this? Have you seen this?
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Bill Clinton, of all people.
Have you heard about this? There's a man in Little Rock, Arkansas. He says he's president. I heard he's a pedophile.
I hear he comes out of the woods at night like some sort of boogeyman to steal children from Haiti.
Regis, you can't say that on air.
On air? Goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness.
That almost sounded a little like Regis Philbin.
I said the quiet part out loud.
That was the joke.
Oh.
Oh, another classic Robert Explains comedy.
Well, I was just looking at a page here, guys, and there's this big subject of conversation on the internet for a while about what the worst redesign of all time was. It could be a costume change. It could be a complete redesign of a character, a 2D character.
What about like a brand logo?
Yeah, sure, I'll take it. What do you got?
Well, just the newest Pepsi logo, which is like weird. Like Pepsi you were fine with the old Pepsi logo. Why make it just like this dumb?
It's because we're in an age of corporate minimalism in terms of design, and it fucking sucks. It sucks.
I think I know what you're talking about. Is the thing is because someone like handed me a Pepsi when I was doing a Dungeons and Dragons game because I'm a voluntary incel. I think God frowns upon
You're
sex.
a volcel.
Yes, and I got a Pepsi and I looked at the logo and I said, "This isn't kosher. Somehow this is different and I don't like it. It's like a dimension got removed from Pepsi."
It looks like a weird like Olympic logo for like Seoul, South Korea. Like that's what it looks like. It's just like we're getting it in 2030 and this is the logo.
Yeah,
that's
like
crazy.
It looks because we're in an age of both corporate minimalism but also heavy nostalgia where people are constantly like, what about what happened in the 70s? Like, what about the 80s? What about the 90s?
The early 2000s was such an incredible time.
Yeah, so you get this weird mix up of like this thing of like them trying to play it super fucking safe, but yeah, at the same time, like I'm just looking at the current logo right now. I pulled it up. Yeah, it looks like it belongs in like if this was like just a logo and you're like, oh, this is the Pepsi Korea logo. It makes a ton of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even like representative of like the logo from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Like
it just doesn't make any sense. It's like, oh
it's
yeah,
bullshit.
Everyone will know what this is by looking at it. No, we don't. It looks stupid. Harper, what did you have in mind in terms of rebrand?
Oh, there's a few that come to mind. Did you ever watch American Dragon Jake Long?
Oh yeah, I remember. I watched that a little bit. Like I don't remember too much of it, but I definitely remember watching.
I know there was like an Asian kid and he turned into a dragon and then
he was a superhero. He turned into a dragon and it was cool. Lots of kids liked it. The art style was pretty endearing, but I think because like Disney wanted to save money or because one of the lead animators died. I don't know what it actually is. And frankly, I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to spread misinformation if I can.
That's what this podcast's for.
For whatever reason, they changed animators and the style was worse. And it's not just like, oh, that's just your opinion. It's like everyone was like, yeah, this design's worse. It's not as strong. The character looks emaciated by comparison. And it was so bad that people just stopped watching and they canceled the show. Like, I don't even know, half a season into the redesign.
I mean, it was a number of years ago that they came back out with Samurai Jack and they didn't change shit on that. And I think that was the main reason like the final thing kind of worked.
Yeah.
Because imagine if it came back with a complete redesign and it just looked like shit.
Right. And you can't really watch Samurai Jack in a different style. It's not the same. That was one of them. I saw that Batman the animated series switch up from when Bruce had like a sort of lovable quality and a musk to his hair and a suit jacket and stuff, to like a corporate soulless Bruce that didn't do different voices for when he was Batman and when he was Bruce Wayne.
What's the whole point of that? Shouldn't they just have okay. I feel like we're getting in a weird direction.
Well, it's the same series where the Joker didn't have red lipstick in 2D form.
Isn't this just kind of the thing where they like outsource like animation? Like, didn't like the old X-Men 80 or whatever series, the animated series came out, didn't it like 4 seasons in, everything started to look like shit because they outsourced the animation to Korea?
Usually that's when things start to look like shit, is when they outsource it. Yeah.
Unfortunately. I mean, it's weird because when those like countries where they animate there do like make their own original shows, it's usually like some pretty god tier stuff comes out of it. You're like, oh my God. But that's also when you realize it's like, it's not just that, it's like when they care about the shows or the products that they're making, and there's a lot of times where they just don't because they're getting underpaid and overworked. So you're like, oh, yeah.
And they have a lot more freedom because they don't have like this corporate sphere just hanging over them, because they don't, like, C-suite executives don't speak their language, so everything has to come through an interpreter. So there's like, you're doing stuff, you're working, right? Okay, good. Yeah. Send it in.
I don't know about you guys. I've acquired the keen ability to find out what country shit was outsourced to just by looking at it.
Oh yeah.
Things like Warner Brother, almost certainly East Asia, like Taiwan, Korea.
Indonesia is a big outsourcing. Yeah.
Certain cartoons went to Italy. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the Winx Club.
No.
Why would I have watched the Winx Club?
Sounds like a gay nightclub.
You watched a commercial for it or something like that. I think Megas XLR was also set up to.
You're into an old animation kick right now. I can tell.
I'm going through some cartoons because there's nothing better to watch.
I thought you were about to say you're like going through some shit right now.
Did you ever watch Fillmore? Because that might be my favorite childhood cartoon of all time.
I like Fillmore. Yeah, Fillmore was funny as fuck.
Yeah, I was just talking to my brother about it recently, but it's like when I was growing up, I watched a lot of like adult cartoons. Like, I was constantly like, I don't know what was going on, but I was constantly watching adult cartoons. But then there would be stuff like Fillmore, Recess, The Weekenders. Did you ever watch The Weekenders?
I love The Weekenders.
Fillmore's that bald kid who
best buzz hanging strong. Video games, I beat your skull.
Yeah, Sasha, could you put on just like The Weekenders, like part of the theme, just to like add it, because like just to bring some good times.
Hang the birds, the weekend's all about. Yeah.
I want people to stumble after me after the show and go like, you did a great set, buddy.
I also want people to flip me around and be like, what did you mean when you called those people that word?
Jesus Christ. Something about my identity offends you.
No, unfortunately, my stand-up is not that offensive.
Unfortunately.
You can always change that, Malcolm, whenever you want.
Yeah, I have this canceled nightclub in Texas that you might be able to make some inroads
in Texas. There's an improv in Tempe Desert Ridge you should crack into next time you're out here. You'll probably kill there.
I will say though that improv, it's just the Scottsdale Improv, but everything is it's a bringer show every time. Like, you can't.
Oh.
They either book you as in like you're traveling, or it's a bringer show, and it sucks every time.
Book this, whips cock out, begins to jerk it slowly, jorks my peanuts.
Bringer shows are, that's just shows you that's a low quality show.
Mm-hmm.
If the producers can't get people to show up to it, you're like, oh.
Well, they just don't want to market at all because it costs money.
Well, that's it. It's hard. Marketing is hard. We're in a climate where there's a lot happening, and a lot of people don't have enough money, and they're constantly being, barraged with things to do, and they're like, oh, I got to make decisions.
It's either I stay home to do something that's basically free, or I pay $15 for a comedy show.
Didn't like Schindler's, didn't like Santa's. So last episode, we talked briefly about the Kendrick feud with Drake, and we ended the podcast right before the nail in the coffin track dropped.
Like minutes after. It would have honestly. I wish we had recorded longer so we could actually
get a live one.
Get a breaking news.
Yeah, so obviously for those who don't know, we're not recording these necessarily like the day before they go out. And in that regard, we were recording it like on the Friday, and it was we literally like end the recorder, we're like, great job, and then it's just like Kendrick Lamar next diss track, and it's the kill shot.
Us.
Yeah, I walked away from my computer and you gave me a notification.
Not Like Us is a crazy song because it is the catchiest bop of the summer. It's being played everywhere, and it's a #1 Billboard song where Drake is called a pedophile multiple times.
When you're right, you're right.
My favorite response to this is that, first of all, Drake is like, yeah, man, we had a mole like in terms of all the 11-year-old daughter thing. He's like, I don't have an 11-year-old daughter. Like, I want to say this right now. Don't have an 11-year-old daughter.
That's right.
And you're like, what about the pedophilia? What about the grooming?
He's like, well, I didn't fuck Millie Bobby Brown. And everyone's just like, who said that?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah, like I was thinking about it. It's like I have a sister and she's like in high school, and I want to say this right now as a grown man. I don't want to talk to teenagers. Teenagers are boring people.
Weird. They make me uncomfortable. They're not fully formed humans.
I only talk to my sister and then maybe like one or two of her friends, like if I'm happen to be at my mom's house when they're like passing through. That's it. Yeah.
You're not pulling out your phone being like, hey, can I get you on Snapchat?
Listen, I'll say this. I'm Canadian. Drake lost, and Drake lost hard.
All of Toronto lost.
Fuck, yeah. Toronto isn't Canada. I'm going to flick him away. Like, fuck this guy. Like,
the best take I saw concerning this track was that someone said that this is a dancing track. And someone was like, I disagree. And they're just like, why? And they say, well, I'm white. I can't really do the dance that it's supposed to be done with. And it's right. I mean, without a certain amount of aura, I don't think white people should be allowed to crip walk. I think that you can't do that.
I don't. You know what? Show me a white guy who is allowed to crip walk, and I will show you a
Merrill
dead
Kelly,
white guy.
pitcher of the Diamondbacks, can crip walk.
Yeah.
He can crip walk so well that
who are some? I'm trying to think of who are white guys who could crip walk. Oh, Jason Williams, the NBA player, he could definitely. Crip
if they're
walk.
Sports players, it's almost like yes, you can crip walk.
I will say this: there's certain white NBA players where I'm like, yeah, you can.
They got
walk.
the pass, right?
You got it.
I mean, I think it's mostly because they were shown the dance by their black team members.
What? No, let's be real. It's not all of them. Like, here, do I want to watch Nikola Jokic do a crip walk? Absolutely.
Does he
have the? Should he? I don't think so.
After what he did to Book, absolutely. And look, so like. It's a white people fantasy to hear your black friends getting down to a song and then jump in with a perfect crip walk and watch them explode.
Look, I'm a white guy with rhythm. People have told me I have rhythm my entire life. Black, white, I don't care. I have rhythm. I will not crip walk.
I love that you were like, people have told me that, I have rhythm my whole life. Black and white? Like you were like, as if you only were told.
I have to make sure people know.
as if only white, but you have to make sure people know.
I grab him by the shirt collar and I say 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's just, I don't know if it's the way I look or whatnot, but every single time I'm like dancing or something that involves rhythm around like somebody, they're like surprised, like, wow, you have rhythm.
It's because you're doing it in loafers, you fucking nerds.
Are you sure they're not making fun of you?
No.
Like, are you sure
there have been times, not specifically with that, but there have been times where it's gone over my head. Not on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, me too, dude. Whenever someone calls me
like,
handsome.
yeah. I feel like, Robert, you spend a lot of time watching YouTube videos of like white guys dabbing up black guys and being like, I got this.
No,
Go in, lock,
that's
bring it in.
appropriation.
That's right.
How is that appropriation?
Because-
That's you doing the work. That's you doing.
You're from Scottsdale. Dapping up is like half your identity.
90% of like, oh god damn it! I just learned history and know the struggle. Fuck you.
Oh jeez. Oh
I know. It was a
god.
joke. I could barely get that. sentence
I feel
out.
like Rob, you're like, I got rhythm, and if it was in the 1960s, I would have been there in Selma, Alabama.
I'm trying to move somewhere I can't offend anybody at this
No,
point.
I would obviously be an abolitionist in the Civil War. Obviously.
Yeah, that's Robert.
Who is that guy? John Brown? You would have been John Brown.
I mean, I love John Brown. Don't get me wrong. I have read multiple things written by John Brown.
I used to listen to this podcast back when I was working graveyard, who like labeled themselves as an objectivist point of view on history that doesn't have any sort of like bias. And they would like give the requisite, like the Confederacy was not fighting for states' rights. It was 100% for slavery, you know?
And then what
And
they
then they
say.
would be like, John Brown was a fucking lunatic. John Brown like kidnapped slaves that didn't want to go.
In fairness, that's called Stockholm syndrome for the
That
slaves.
is like, I just don't want to be shot by this
You
army.
to say that they have Stockholm syndrome, but it's speaking for the slaves, Malcolm.
I'm
John
for
Brown was
freedom.
right.
I'm
That is the official
pro-freedom.
stance of the Seinfuck podcast.
In a
okay.
chaotic
No,
good sort of
here's the
way,
thing.
yeah.
Does John Brown, can he crip walk? Do you think he's
Yes,
allowed to?
Absolutely.
He is
John Brown. I bet he
original
could
white
bust
guy who
it
can
down.
crip walk.
Yeah,
John
John
Brown
Brown
can
could
crip walk.
absolutely
Put that in
bust
the
it
episode,
down.
Bay.
Yeah, that might be the episode title.
You cannot. This is a side note, not to be left in. You cannot spell CRIP Crip Walk. It has to be C* walk because otherwise that will attract the wrong kind. of
Yeah,
attention.
that's fair. That's fair. I think my favorite comment from this whole Kendrick Drake thing was the comment I saw on YouTube, which was, I posted to the Discord, and it was just, this ain't to pimp a butterfly anymore. This is to catch a predator.
Oh,
Someone posted that. You ever see that text message where that guy's like, "You ugly ass shrimp dick, 30-second 2-pump chump, broke ass," and the guy replies just with "broke."
That is kind of what Drake did. Because like, I'm not texting Millie Bobby Brown, and I don't have a secret daughter. It just doesn't cover the fucking hill of shit that Kendrick dumped on
They
him.
legit played Not Like Us on the TNT playoffs for the NBA.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
it's over.
They
for
just
Drake.
like bought up the rights. Like, we need those.
I'm listening to DJ Academics breakdown at the point where it was live, and Academics is a huge Drake dick writer. He will spin on it. He will do flips on it. He will see that it's drying up a little bit and spit from across the room. Perfect 10 out of 10. And Academics is listening to Not Like Us, and he's nodding along. He stops the beat at this point. He's just like, "This man's sea walking on the beat. Drake, you got to shoot him. You got to do something, Drake."
Oh,
Yeah.
God damn it.
well, I was trying to think about this. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, there's all this stuff like the pedophilia with Drake, and just like all the sketchy shit, like the parties and like underage girls, all the videos, and I'm like, what was like? I can't actually really recall what Drake was what like hits Drake had on Kendrick. Like, I feel like Kendrick has actually come out unscathed, if not more popular, due to this thing.
I mean, what is he going to say? You're an amazing rapper. I don't know why he went
No,
Trump with that.
Yeah, your impressions are. I always do Foghorn. Was it Foghorn Leghorn?
And I devolve into Trump.
And you always end up in Trump.
I wanted to say this to you, Malcolm. Foghorn has gained some notoriety as of late, and you really are missing out on the train by not putting Foghorn
By
Leghorn
not
in as many
auditioning
of
for
these
SNL,
situations as you can.
Yeah, I will do it. Yeah, I've got that's my number one and number two characters.
I just have a vision of you on Weekend Update in the fucking chickens.
I'd love that. I would
He's
do
in
that.
like Dragon Ball Z going like, I say of all the pig-headed things to give Cell a sensu bean. Yeah, it's just shit like that. It's been very popular.
But yeah, like what was it? It wasn't like the one allegation that like Drake, made against Kendrick was like maybe some sort of like his manager like hit his wife or something like that.
No, Kendrick hits his wife, and Dave Free, his manager, got her pregnant. So he's asserting that Dave Free has one of Kendrick's kids and that Kendrick beats his wife. But I mean,
but no one's buying it. No one's
No
like,
one's
yeah,
like,
or no one cares. Well, the funniest thing about the whole beef,
or
was
no one cares.
That's
the funniest
dark,
thing about
Harper,
the whole
that's
retro.
dark.
Look, I'm telling you how it is. Okay, people had preconceived notions about these artists going into the beef, and there's no such thing as an undecided listener in this matter,
True.
unless they've literally never listened to Drake or never listened to Kendrick, but they just don't like rap at that point.
Yeah.
And if you like force someone who doesn't like rap to listen to the beef, they're probably going to tell you that they don't like this this booty shaking, rump shaking hippity hop, and that they never had.
Wait, so what you're saying is the only way to get an impartial opinion on the Drake Kendrick beef is to ask
make
a
a
white
racist
supremacist?
That's true. I got Richard Spencer. I really wish you guys had watched Blood Sports while it was going. Did you watch Internet Blood Sports at all?
No,
I feel like I've talked about Internet
You
Blood
talked
Sports.
a little bit
about
of
it, but I only really heard about it from you, and I don't think Malcolm was ever part of it.
No, I don't remember. The only thing I remember from like early internet days was like, being past clips of like bum fights. Like that was like,
Bum fights is crazy. So let me give you a quick breakdown of Internet Blood Sports, like as a concept. Sasha, I know that I've said this before, and I know that it's probably going to annoy you. I will make it super quick and talk about stuff I haven't talked about before.
Okay.
Internet Blood Sports was around the Trump election when the alternative right as a concept was trying to solidify itself in ideology. And they did this the way that the right can best solidify their opinions by dogpiling crazy leftists on the internet a la Tucker Carlson. So there was a stream that was called, it was the Andy Worski show, Worski Live. And Andy Worski, a grifter who is not that bright of a person, like very evidently not that bright of a person. He just comes across as like, I'm trying to party, I'm trying to have a great time, And a white supremacist by the name of J.F. Garepi, who is a biologist from Quebec, Montreal, Quebec, Canada.
Not surprised.
A race realist biologist, genetics biologist.
I hate the phrase race realist.
A Quebecois race realist. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
Be a worse person.
I'm disgusted
He
enough
literally
just
said
by
that.
Quebecois.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really capped it off there. These people would invite fence sitters like YouTubers that had PNG YouTuber things going on, like they would play a clip of an SJW saying men should die, then cut back to like a fucking statue and be like, oh, men should die, should they? Well, fuck you, you pink-haired feminazi.
Yeah,
You
it's
dumb
like
bitch.
people trying to like hop
those
on a
guys.
wave
Those
of-
guys, yeah. People who thought they were really fucking smart on YouTube,
Just the worst kind of guy.
Yes, and they would have a dog pile where it was like Richard Spencer, Styx Hexenhammer, Razor Fist, JF Garepi, a bunch of racists versus one of these guys, and they would say something like, well, I think that, the bell curve isn't necessarily indicative of the distribution of IQ or whatever.
And then they'd be like, cuck.
Yeah, they essentially do that, and then fucking one of them would pipe up louder and be like, look, I know this is going to be a really traumatic thing for you to hear, but you're not as smart as you think you are. And they said it without a shred of irony and without like any sort of fucking ability to navel gaze. And anyway, it quickly devolved into backstabbing, and JF Garepi was outed as having a mentally challenged woman as his girlfriend. She had like the mental age of a 12-year-old or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
She like came out on stream one time while he was streaming and talked about how like he hit her and shit like that, and he like pushed her away from the camera and stuff. And people in the chat were like, JF, what the hell? Is she
He's like, no, she is not she is French.
She was actually mentally challenged.
Oh, fuck. I didn't know where you were going with that to begin with. It paid off.
Well, I've probably told that story before, but it's so much funnier when you have all of the memes behind it. Anyone who like looks into internet blood sports is gonna find inevitably like some of the worst content available on YouTube.
Some of the worst people and some of the worst content. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, some of the worst people in the world, and it's funny.
Yeah, you forget that like everyone has access to the internet, and a lot of people have access to cameras, and they're putting themselves out there. And you're going, "How are you not embarrassed? How are you not ashamed?
How are you not, one, in jail, and two, embarrassed?"
I think we're living in continually stupider times.
So I watched a documentary recently.
Oh, smart person alert.
No, it's the opposite. It was part of it was voiced by Fred Armisen to give you a hint.
Was it about drum kits?
No, I mean that would be a very Fred Armisen thing to voice over for. But it was a documentary that came out in the UK like last year, but it came out just a couple days ago on Hulu here in the US. It's called The Contestant. Have you ever? Neither of you guys heard of it? Seen it?
The name sounds familiar, but go on.
Well, you probably know about it a bit more, Harper. So it's about a story about a guy who from January 1998 to March 2002, I believe, spent an entire year in like a tiny 10 foot by 10 foot apartment. And
I remember this now.
Yes, for a reality show.
Oh, I do remember. I have heard of this story.
It's just freaking insane. Just for the listener. So a guy is a comedian from Fukushima, went on this, like one of the very first Japanese reality shows and started this competition where he had to live for a year solely off of what he won from magazine competitions that you'd like write postcards in for a chance to win prizes. And he lived off that. He won like a tiny little raffle in a room, went immediately into this 10 by 10 room, was stripped of all his clothes. And then,
they do. They love a naked man in Japan.
They were he was completely naked for like a year and 3 months and fucking given just nothing. I mean, just the magazines and the postcards, and then he would just win. And the guy was literally starving to death. And people watched this or watched like a 6-minute cut of this every week and were just dying laughing. Jesus Christ. It was very interesting. Nasumi is the comedian's name. Apparently that's probably where we get the like eggplant emoji being like a euphemism for dick. Because for the majority of the stint, because he's naked, they have to censor it as he's on the TV. They superimposed an eggplant emoji on his junk, like throughout the entire course of this 15-month live stream. It was ridiculous. And this was before the Truman Show. The Truman Show didn't exist.
Oh, but I wonder if the Truman Show was based on this show. Like, I wonder if the guy who wrote the script kind of saw this or heard about it.
If he didn't know about it, it had to have been like one of those parallel thought things where monkeys on one island start using tools at the same time as another island kind of deal.
Fun fact, apparently the original draft of that movie was called The Malcolm Show, and then they changed it to The Truman Show.
Really?
Thank God, because that would have ruined my life. I already get enough Malcolm in the Middle jokes.
Well, that's okay. That raises the question I wanted to ask you guys, bringing up this documentary. Nasumi, the comedian actor, his name is Nasumi because that's Japanese for eggplant, and he had a really fucking long face that apparently looks like a Japanese eggplant.
Okay.
And so, but he went to instant stardom after this. Well, not instant stardom. Obviously, it took after he had gone through this, he didn't even know this was being streamed or sent out or anything until it was revealed that it to him. Would you guys do it for like fame, instant fame?
If I had to be relied on my initiative to send postcards and collect prizes, I don't think I would do it because I have the opinion that I am just never going to win anything. I'm no good at these kind of fucking mail-in kind of things, and I never win anything. I have the worst luck in the world.
Okay, Malcolm.
Yeah, well, I know, Harper's the nihilist, but
It's not nihilism. That's just I don't think I'm gonna fucking win anything.
yeah, that's nihilism.
Your idea is that you wouldn't win enough that you'd probably just starve to death. I mean, the guy literally ate dog food at certain points in order not to starve to death.
Well, I don't think they were gonna let him die on camera.
No,
I think that would have been.
There were times where like a doctor
ridiculous.
came in and whatnot.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just going back to the Truman Show. Apparently, the first treatment for it, when it was called the Malcolm Show, was written in 1991, and this happened in what, 1997 or
1998 actually.
1998, and the Truman Show movie came out
In 98.
Yeah, I guess 1998.
Yeah, it came out the same year.
Same year. So yeah, it's parallel at that point. But when that in the Truman Show, like they obviously like he like has a whole town that like makes him so he doesn't know he's on camera.
Yeah.
I think for me, I don't know. I don't think I would. Like, I think if I wanted to live stream myself right now, I'd be a Twitch streamer, right? Like, I'd be on Twitch.
I mean, that's kind of the natural evolution of reality TV to a point.
Like, maybe like if there was like the promise of something else afterwards, like not just money, but like because he's a comedian, I'm like, all right, I want to make sure that I get like the sitcom afterwards, or I get the special.
You don't
like I
deal
need
with like the Seinfeld curse, where you get off of Seinfeld and you have like nothing for years.
Yeah, and then 30 years later, you make Pop-Tart or
Pop-Tart,
the movie,
Unfrosted.
Unfrosted. Yeah, no. So I think that's where my head's at. Like, I just don't know. Also, I like wearing a shirt, and I don't want to be running around naked. I already like have a hard time being shirtless for too long, so I like having a t-shirt on. So I have to make sure I'm like t-shirt, boxers. Maybe I could do it for a little bit, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it'd be worth it for me.
Well, I mean, one of the things that he did, what they had tasked him to do while he was in, the room, was to take a journal, a diary. And ended up, his diary series ended up selling like over 1 million copies. And like he got the money from that, I believe.
I'm curious what like Nasubi does now. Like, I'm curious if he's like
he climbed Mount Everest in, I want to say 2018. I did a bunch of research afterwards because Fukushima obviously had the massive earthquake. And then as he was going to raise money for the earthquake in Fukushima, Nepal was hit by an earthquake. And then like he was on the very top. Like he was at base camp on Everest, and while the earthquake happened and got hit by an avalanche and a disaster that killed 19 people, it was like a whole thing.
And he survived that?
Yeah, he survived. But he runs a theater production company and he climbs for charity.
Okay. Would you do it, Robert?
I think about it.
Yeah. All right. Now you've thought about it. What is your answer?
Yeah, I'd probably do it.
Shout out to the Japanese comedy duo Goats Downtown, Matsumoto and Hamada, the funniest motherfuckers in Japan.
I like Japanese comedy quite a bit, actually.
We very much matter to them in terms of opinions, and they listen to our show every Wednesday. Check us out if you like Downtown, Gaki no Tsukai. Big friends of the show.
Big friends of the show. They can't check this because they don't speak English.
Yeah, we'd have them guest on for another Kiki meth episode or something like that. But
I would love it if they were learning English through listening to our podcast.
They would most certainly not learn English by listening to this podcast.
They would certainly know a very specific form of English.
They would know some words.
They would know a lot of words. No, I mean, I think I probably would do it, but I'd probably tap out early, I think is the way I would think about it. Like I'd probably do it for like 3 months and then like realize I'm like on the cusp of committing suicide and like I gotta go.
Right. Yeah. See, that's kind of where I'm at.
What if you were more alive than you'd ever felt in your life?
That would be interesting. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, like what if like would you be okay if they like gave you the number counter like once a month where they're like, hey, like you've got 2 million people following you, like
I mean,
this
that's
month.
just like live stream with extra steps, but
Yeah,
I feel like
this is what
I
this
think I would be
is.
more likely to stay if I did have those numbers,
yeah.
but it would certainly.
I will say this. I'm very curious about because like Mr. Beast does kind of bullshitty stuff like this. I can't wait in like 20 years when they do like the Mr. Beast documentary where they are like, oh yeah, he was basically a step away from being Jigsaw.
Yeah, I'm looking. I think we talked about it a little bit on a previous episode. Just like, where is Drake's, and then when is Mr. Beast's All Quiet on the Set going to be? Because it is going to be insane.
Yeah, well, he's apparently giving away 26 Teslas for his 26th birthday, which is just a horrible gift.
Just in time for their like whole battery division supercharger to shut down.
How about you give me a car that won't explode, Mr. Beast?
So it's 25 regular like Tesla Ys, and then it's one Cybertruck. So it's like you've got millions of a chance to like win, and then you get down to like the Tesla, and then you get the Cybertruck, and then your life's ruined.
I would like. I kind of want to enter it just so like I get hurt by the Cybertruck, so I can sue Mr. Beast.
You could sue Mr. Beast. Absolutely, you should sue Mr. Beast in that case.
I would just sue Mr. Beast, like if I wanted, and be like, I'm starting the lawsuit now. Like I'm not
preemptive.
Yeah, it's a preemptive. I know something's going to go wrong the minute I drive this Cybertruck.
Oh god damn it! It's just like there's a guy going to come out in like 15 years, like I saw Mr. Beast blow some African kid's head off. It was incredible.
Oh,
yeah,
I thought you were going to say something. Yeah, sure. Yeah, his head off.
Oh, I mean, hey. Speaking of All Quiet on the Set.
Hey.
Yeah, really.
Hey.
On that note,
so last place gets the Cybertruck, right?
Was it?
Last place, the loser gets the Cybertruck.
Oh
right?
yeah,
if you lose, you get the Cybertruck. Yeah, you're like, oh, your prize for losing the episode is you have to drive a Cybertruck across the country.
Yeah,
like
that's called a death race, Malcolm. That's a death race.
Now that's the reality show I want to watch. I want to watch like some Porsche, like schmucks, and they have to drive a Cybertruck across the country, and like the last one to die wins.
The show that you should make is like Teslas and like Honda Yaris's fucking slamming into each other at high speeds.
I honestly, the fact that the Yaris would probably do a lot better than we think it would.
Yeah, I think if you put like a fucking snowplow on the front of a fucking Yaris and you drove it into a Tesla, the Tesla would absolutely explode. Like 10 times out of 10.
You know what? I'm absolutely sure about that, which is funny because my brother-in-law, his car before his current Tesla was a Yaris.
Wow.
Yeah,
he fucked up.
He fucked up. I'm sorry.
I will say this: if it was like a Yaris against a snowplow, you know who who loses? Jeremy Renner, because Jeremy Renner will get hit by the snowplow.
On that note, I think it's time for a user submission.
No, I just want to say, I think it was your brother-in-law fucked up. He should not have gotten the Tesla. He should have stuck with the Yaris.
Anyway, here's a question, user submission, from somebody who would like to be known as Salty Dog.
Hi, Salty Dog.
Their song recommendation is Hail Mary by Ultra Vivid Scene.
All right.
Okay,
cool.
Their question...
I've never heard that song.
No, I have not either. Their question is, why the fuck did you guys put up a Google form for NSFW fan art? Shouldn't you do like normal fan art first? Better yet, why don't you guys get an audience?
Damn.
Thanks, Salty Dog.
All right, here's the thing. We didn't choose that. Our producer put that on without our knowledge, and now we don't know how to change it. So when we...
I mean, that is essentially accurate.
Yeah, we got locked out of the account, and producer Sasha, who could explain himself, but has chosen not to, even though we asked him in the recording to talk about it, he will not do it. And if you do hear his voice added, let's just say that was under duress. Yeah, we didn't want this. So here's the thing. We do have people who listen to the podcast. We have people who listen to the podcast. I don't know who the fuck you are, Salty Dog. You know what? You're a little coward. You didn't even put your name down. You know what?
You why don't you put your real name in
What's your name?
You didn't put your name, your address, your mother's address, your social security number.
Also, Salty Dog, where's the fan art, bitch? You didn't put anything down.
On. Let me check.
Hold on. We got to make sure.
There's nothing in the not safe for work fan art folder. What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah. Did he put anything in there?
I'm looking at the folder. There's only
And if it's not a picture of your cock, you're being a little bitch.
Someone actually did upload something.
Yeah, but was it Salty Dog or someone who's cool?
It wasn't Salty Dog.
All right, you know what, Salty Dog? Fuck you piece of shit. Listen, I know I'm not supposed to say that to people who are fans, but you're not a fan, all right?
You're fake.
This is not a fan question. This is not even a question. It's just someone who's got a sad life, all right? Sad little life, sad little boy, sad little girl. I don't know.
Going into Trump with your hand gestures.
I can't because I can't do the voice.
Your sad life, sad.
You're gonna be. You're the kind of guy who's like listening to Drake and going like, he's making a couple of good points. Like I like him.
He's just a really great breakup album.
You know who Salty Dog is? Salty Dog's Chris Brown apologist.
I'm almost sure that Salty Dog is one of the former Coyotes fans that used to associate with me, who no longer does so because I criticized their quick flip to supporting the team for clout, essentially.
Which team did they flip to?
Team. Well, the same team,
but in Salt Lake,
same organization. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
they essentially announced that they would be doing this before they even played their last game, before the sale was final. That's my guess.
We all grieve differently. All right, we all grieve differently.
I drink.
Yeah, he drinks. I get angry.
Harper, how do you grieve?
He writes poetry.
I've stopped trying. I can't cry anymore. I can't laugh. Nothing entertains me. Food tastes like ash. Oh no, I'm under the curse of the Black Pearl.
You straight up like bring up Captain Barbossa's monologue. Nor the warmth of a woman.
The curse of the Black Pearl.
You best start believing in ghost stories. You're in one.
That may be one of the hardest lines in all of Disney.
Oh, it fucking is. The early 20 odds. That is the hardest fucking line.
Yeah, that's when screenwriters were screenwriters.
That was the good old
That's when
days.
actors were actors. That's when directors were directors.
And when 9/11 was 9/11.
You best be believing in ghost stories, Mr. Epstein.
You're in one.
You're in one.
You're in one.
I've seen some people trying to pass off that Epstein's still alive with the aerial photo of an old man.
What? An aerial photo?
Aerial photo. Bird's
An
eye view.
areola photo?
Yeah, can you identify Epstein's nipples?
No, I can't. I don't.
Damn.
I'm not good enough at
We could have
that.
closed this case.
Yeah. It just was like, that's not the nipples of a man who has that island.
What is this?
I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with.
See what you gotta know.
What you gotta know here, kid.
Yes.
But yeah, no, here's the thing. Jeffrey Epstein is very much alive. He lives on an island with Tupac and Elvis.
He lives on the pineapple under the sea.
Jeffrey Epstein!
Right next to Osama bin Laden.
Sorry, it's just the fact that his name is the same number of syllables as SpongeBob SquarePants. Traffic, sex workers, and children does he?
You're in one.
I didn't even put that together until I said it like that. I was like,
let's see if we can cobble together a SpongeBob song out of that. Yeah. Oh, lives in an island called St. James Sea.
Jeffrey Epstein!
Traffic, sex workers, and children does he?
Jeffrey Epstein!
If sex with young minors is something you wish.
Jeffrey Epstein!
They give Drake a call and call him a
Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. End it.
Just like Jeffrey Epstein was ended in that prison.
Took his own life.